Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll be talking about Mars, the planet most accessible to Earth. Please remember to like and subscribe. Now let's get right into it. Fact 1. Mars quakes. Did you know that Mars also experiences what we call earthquake here on Earth, but obviously because it's a different planet, it's called Mars quakes. At the surface of Mars, there are seismic activity, and it was long speculated that all the mountains and ridges and valleys formed on Mars means that there should be Mars quakes or seismic activities in order to form them. And this theory was proved indeed correct with a Mars probe that measured seismic activity and even recorded the sounds that were different when the ground on the Mars surface began moving. And so now the scientists have a definitive evidence that Mars has seismic activity and therefore Mars quakes. And in fact, it's actually a very actively seismic planet with many things moving and rumbling at all times. It's very similar to what happens on Earth. Alright, let's get into the next fact. Fact 2, a very light planet. Because Mars, even though it does have water, it's relatively mostly rock. And also the size of it, it's roughly a third of the size of Earth. Mars is actually a very light planet. And when I say light, I mean the total mass of the planet is a fraction of what it is on Earth. And I think the reason why Earth has such a high mass is simply because of the ocean that it has. The ocean is probably super heavy, and as a result causes Earth to have a much higher mass than Mars. So Mars is actually a very light planet, if you will, a lightweight. And as a result, which we'll get to the next sections, this impacts other things on this planet. For example, its gravitational pull, or its atmosphere. All these can be contributed to the fact that Mars is a smaller planet than the Earth. Even though Mars is technically the most similar to Earth and most hospitable to humans, the fact that the planet itself is lighter, and I say much lighter, than Earth in terms of mass, it is still a quite different environment to be in. We still have a lot of challenges to solve in order for the humans to really colonize and fully utilize Mars as another planet. Alright, let's get into the next fact. Fact 3. Low gravity. As I mentioned in the previous section, Mars is a lot smaller and lighter than Earth. And as a result, the gravitational pull of Mars is nowhere near what the Earth experiences. It's very interesting, but think about the moon. The moon also has lighter gravity, and so when astronauts landed on there, they could jump much higher and also throw objects much higher because it's much easier to defy gravity in a low gravity environment. And Mars is no different. In fact, Mars, as compared to Earth, has 62.5% less gravity. That means when you're on Mars, you could jump almost half as much as you would do on Earth. And so if you were to throw objects, for example, you can throw almost 60% to more times. And I think that's very interesting on this planet because now you have to take in whole new considerations when you start building things on Mars. The gravitational pull isn't as strong, and the people and their activities need to be calibrated and adjusted to a low gravity environment, or else things that you take granted for may fly up in the air. Alright, let's get into the next fact. Fact 4. Low temperature. Mars is a very cold place. Most of Mars' temperature is what we consider cold on Earth. And in fact, the maximum temperature ever recorded on Mars is only 86 degrees Fahrenheit or 30 degrees Celsius. Think about it, that is the maximum temperature ever recorded on Mars. Whereas on Earth, you could go to places with over 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 50 degrees Celsius. And so it's very interesting that Mars is such a cold planet despite the fact that it's not super far away from the sun. Of course, the reason that this is happening is very simple. Mars lacks the same kind of atmosphere to trap heat as Earth. Its atmosphere is much thinner, comes mostly of carbon dioxide, and so the planet is a relatively cold place. Alright, let's get into the next and final fact. Listening to Mars. Of course, the Martian planet has been discovered for ages and millennia. However, in the 1950s and 60s, the United States firmly believed that civilization or intelligent species lived on Mars. And in fact, during periods of orbit where Mars and Earth comes to the closest proximity, the United States Navy has been instructed to listen to any radio frequency anomalies that could be attributed to Martian people trying to contact the Earth. I think it's pretty wild that they thought that this might happen and actually put an active military group into making sure that they capture anomalies in radio frequencies or radio waves coming from the Mars planet. It's as if they really believe that people live there, or not people, but aliens, Martians. Of course, this practice was stopped because it is pretty evident the whole planet is roughly lifeless. There are still attempts to find life on Mars, but the life is not intelligent species. It's more like cells, bacteria, viruses, etc. Things that you can't really see. Scientists right now are fairly certain there are no life, animals, or plants on Mars. Alright, that's it for my video today. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.